it was too much of an opportunity to kind of get back to that. 2020 was quite intense, painting. I was one of the lucky artists who was able to carry on working, because I paint in a little shed in the back of my garden. And it was my way of keeping sane. My paintings are all acrylic on plywood. So as things were warming up in the early days of 2020, I ordered shed loads of plywood and acrylic, because I suspected we were going to be locked away for a while, and that's one thing I did get right. But anyway, some of these paintings are from that time, but most of them have been made since the spring, when we started talking about this. The idea of cutting edge seemed to, it occurred. I looked at my work and I realized there were always a lot of sharp implements in them. And this is not something that, I do paint objects because I think, as part of paintings, because I think we share lives with objects and they carry freight, they carry cultural freight. They all come with stories, quite apart from their material qualities. But the knives, I suppose there's something incisive about knives and scissors. They're around us and they're capable of very useful action, but they can also be quite destructive.
So should I point some here, the scissors there, the sword over there, a big sword?
Yes, a sword.
A sword.
But it isn't because I'm a man of violence. It's because of what these implements can do. And it may be because I'm a traditional Yoruba man from the southern part of Nigeria that this has such a resonance. And this is, I'll point you to this painting, which is the painting called Cutting Edge. And that's the patron saint of cutting, knives, blades, called Ukun. In the pantheon of Nigerian gods, he's one of the primordial gods, came at the start of things. And what I love about this character is...
Do come a bit closer for those, you can come.
He's really a manifestation of the Iron Age. The wonderful praise, traditional praise poetry, speaks of him emerging from the earth. And that's because in that part of West Africa, the earth is red because of the laterite. So these are actually, in these ancestral poems, they were actually being very conceptual. I tried to make this sort of ambiguity concrete in some way.
What's his name? Sorry.
Ogun.
Ogun.
Yes, and he has he's very warlike. Let me say now that he is not a friendly sort of. He's all about the action, and there are the two blades hovering over his head. It shows that there is different intentions. You can be constructive or destructive. So he's the god of war. So he'd be Mars and he's been co-opted in many aspects of Yoruba life. He's one of the few gods that survived the transatlantic slave trade and has emerged fully formed in Haiti, Brazil, and was actually a very important part of the Haitian Revolution. The reason I say this is that the gods need us. We invest in them as what we expect them to give to us. There's an exchange. And in Haiti, he became a politician, in addition to his actually more cutting skills. He loves sacrifice. So it seemed like there needs to be a place, and justice is the other thing. So he is the patron saint of this. I perhaps could talk about this painting a little bit. Am I alone in thinking that we can't possibly carry on eating meat the way we have done for a while? I'm a committed meat eater, so forgive me, I'm not that highly evolved. but I think somehow it's obvious we have to rethink this. I think some of the problems with industrial meat production is the idea that meat just comes from a packet. We have no idea where meat comes from. I just wanted to explore the idea that eating meat involves sacrifice. So, some sort of a being has given its life for this, and maybe if we see that connection, I'm not a preachy painter. It's not about that. It's more me exploring the idea of how do we need to think about this? It may be that we eat less good, but certainly we have to give some regard to the life that has been given for this, and the fact that it does involve butchery and not just a little sanitized pack. So it's just